Welcome to Caregiving and Conversations, Miss Tiff Unfiltered. Lisa, how are you?
Hey, I am well. Thank
You are well. All
you.
right.
Well, and stressed, I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So we have a guest today. We have Lisa Roddy here with us. She is the founder and the owner of Constant Companion, a
Yes.
premier senior concierge and companion service dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for older adults and providing peace of mind for their families. With years of experience in customer service, leadership, and firsthand caregiving, Lisa brings both professional expertise and personal compassion to every client relationship. After serving as a caregiver for her mother, who lived with dementia for more than a decade, Lisa gained a deep understanding of the challenges families face while caring for aging loved ones. That experience inspired her to create Constant Companion, a service designed to bridge the gap between traditional home care and genuine companionship. Constant Companion provides personalized concierge services including companionship, transportation, appointment assistance, errands, wellness check ins, and lifestyle support, allowing seniors to maintain their independence while remaining connected, engaged, and cared for. Lisa, girl,
Yeah,
why didn't you have this when I was doing caregiving full
I
time?
know. I needed it for myself because, as you know, we both know that is a hard road to travel down, and people, people just unless you have been there, you cannot fully understand the caregiver role. You just cannot.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you 100% on that. But before we jump in,
Okay.
there's something that I like to do. I call it a two-word check-in, and so that's
Okay.
just two words of how you are feeling. Because a lot of times people ask, "How are you?" and we give the standard, "I'm fine." So today I'm going to start out just so you can follow my lead. Um, my two-word check-in today is overwhelmed and blessed. I am overwhelmed. I just have so many things going on right now, good things, but it is overwhelming. But I don't want that to be like overpowering over the blessed because I am blessed that I am busy and I have all these things. So, and we all know two things can be true at one time, and overwhelmed and blessed are my two words for today. So, how about you? What are your two words for today?
Yes, my two words are stressed. Yes, I am stressed a little bit. But same as you, I am blessed because I'm blessed that I have a job. I'm not necessarily struggling. We all have the struggle, but I'm blessed that I'm able to get up, go to work in my right mind. Yeah, the body is a little, but my two words, stressed but blessed.
All right. I like that. I like that. Because again, two things can be true at one
Yes,
time.
yes, ma'am.
So we're just going to jump in. First, I just want to talk to you a little about your mom because I know that you were a caregiver for your mom who has passed away. So again, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, ma'am.
But before we go down that dark road of caregiving, I just want you to paint a picture of your mother before she became ill, but paint the picture of who she was as you're describing it to someone who never knew her.
Yes. She was she was very funny, and it's like you don't realize a lot of things about your mother until you are an adult, because when you're younger, you're like, this is my mom. She's always telling me what to do. Da, 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 da," but she was very funny. She was not one of those parents that's all, oh, the love, huggy, lovey, dovey. We that's how we grew up,
Yeah.
and which is fine. That's who she was. She was there. She was very present. She was one of the moms. She got it, and I could talk to her. she was always my biggest supporter, always. Anything, I would tell her that I'm doing, oh, I'll help you. Oh, yeah. So she was my biggest supporter. And that's what I miss now.
Okay. All right. Were you a mama's girl?
Yes. Yes.
Now, do you have other siblings?
Yes. I have a younger sister.
Okay. All right. So it was just the two of you.
Yes, the two
All
of
right.
us.
All right. Got it. Yeah. My mom was funny. She still is. She'll say something, and I'm like, where
Yeah,
did
where
that
did that
come
come
from?
from? I know.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great.
It's so funny how, like I said, as an adult, you see more of their personality, because you're looking at them differently now because you're an adult now, you're living life experience, and then it's so the relationships
Mhm,
change a
mhm.
little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. So what is one lesson that your mother taught you that still guides you to today?
Mm. There was something that happened way, way back when, and she was like, basically the bottom line was just don't let people take advantage of you.
That's a great lesson.
Yeah. Because, when we're young and we're growing up and we're being people pleasers, because I realized a lot of us did that, especially when it came to men. We're people pleasing, we're trying to, because it's like, we want to show, hey, our worth, but it's like, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that
So
was the thing is like, don't let people, take advantage of you, stand up for yourself. So
so how were you able to apply don't be a people pleaser with caregiving, because caregiving is about serving and
oh yeah,
doing. So how were
yeah.
you, or were you able, maybe I should back up, were you able to differentiate between the two?
Yeah, because it's a little bit different. With her, it was like because she's my mom, and I'm like I'm doing any and everything that I can to take care of her, to make her happy, and I had no problem with that at all because, like I said, she was my biggest supporter, always, there, willing to help, and always just being there for me. She would
Mhm.
know when I was stressed and something was going on, and she would come to me, and, we're talking, and then I'm crying because at her as my mother, she knew when, they know when something's wrong.
Mhm. Mhm.
They just
Yeah,
know that. And it's like, you kind of feel that relief, that burden off of your shoulders because like mom is here. She's willing to take on that, or to help you to get through whatever it is.
absolutely. What is it? Mother's intuition, mothers know that
Yeah.
discernment.
Yeah.
And
They
and
know.
that that has probably been one of the hardest things for me, is because my mom is still my
Hmm.
biggest supporter. Her support looks a lot different.
Yes.
But just knowing that support was there, just
Yes.
that's that thing that still keeps me going, is because I know my mom um, is cheering me on, even though she may not understand what's
Absolutely.
going on.
But
But
she's happy for you because you're her baby.
yep, yep,
That's
yep.
enough.
I have two brothers,
Hmm.
but I was the only girl, so I am my mama's
Right.
baby girl.
Yes. Yes.
Even at my big old age, I'm still my mama's baby girl.
Always. Always.
So, was there a moment that you can recall when you started noticing the shift from being her daughter to the caregiver, and how were you dealing with that? What kind of emotional was that for you?
Yes,
Girl,
that
get the
was
tissue. Girl, get the tissue.
no, because that is a hard transition. You have been there and walked down that road. But going from that care to into that caregiver role, it just started slowly because in the beginning, I think that you think, oh, she's okay. Oh, this is just the off moment. This was just something, you know. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll just do this, or I'll put this in the, I'll throw the trash away. I'll do,
Mhm.
So it's gradual into that role, and then there's that moment, like you're asking about, where you're full blown caregiver,
Mhm.
and going into that role is like, wow, now I've got to take care of her, which I have absolutely no problem with doing. But, then there are others that, they're like, well, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, it's definitely a calling. It's not something that you could just be like, yeah, this is, I just do it. It's either in you or it's not.
Right.
It's
Right.
either it's whether
And
it's in you
even
or
even
not.
when you have siblings, it's not always in them to take on that role. Everybody, I think, has a different role. But mine was definitely caregiver for my mom.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
So
I mean, I took it on fully.
yeah, yeah. So did you like growing up? Were you always that go-to person? Were you always like the babysitter, the caring for of your friends? Because we all have like roles within our friends. Were you that person? And
Yeah,
are you still that person?
I am. I don't know. I said maybe that's why it took me long to get to this point. This is what God has me doing, because people, even at work now, that's, I think, why I feel stressed a little bit, because they're coming to me not only with just work stuff, but with personal life situations. And it's like, oh, well, this and this and and I'm like, what you want me to do? Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah.
a lot of the younger ones, though, I've kind of taken on that role, not necessarily willingly, but they come to me
Mhm.
and, just, wanting feedback, or just some type of, it's going to be okay. Do this, this, and this, and take it one day at a time. I think we all need that.
We do.
We
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 do.
all need that, but it's about coming and wanting and asking for the help. You
So
know,
now let so now let me ask you a question then. So if you are that person, who do you turn to?
right?
Uh-oh.
Because
Uh-oh.
see how I just mentioned going and asking for help when I'm feeling like so overwhelmed, or I just don't want to anymore. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be. It's like, then I shut down. I just shut down. I'm here. Sometimes the entire weekend, I'm not out of the house. And I know that that's not good.
Well,
I mean,
well.
sometimes you have to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, because that's part of self care, right? That's part
Right,
of loving yourself and honoring what you're feeling in that moment. So,
right.
we,
And
we
then
have
just
to
kind of
honor.
decompressing.
Abs-
But me coming and, say, calling you, for instance, and like, hey, I need to talk about this. I'm not, I don't do that, because I feel like, everybody's going through something. Everybody has their own thing. And I don't want to feel like, a complete dump set, unless it's something just traumatic, and then maybe I need to, but just a dump session, I'm not going to do that.
okay, so what do you do though? Besides just sitting in the house, how do you release that? How are you getting that out? Do you journal? Do you go outside and scream at the top of your lungs? Like, what are you doing? Because I journal,
Hmm.
and I'm at the verge. Remember, I told you overwhelmed. I'm at the verge of going in my backyard and screaming to the tops of my lungs at this moment with everything that I have going on. So,
Right.
what are some things that you're doing to decompress, to release?
Right. So, I'm on Audible.
Okay.
So I have my books that I'm listening to, and I mean it's a wide range of, the ratchet to some self-help type books. And then I come across things on TikTok and I'm like, oh, let me look it up and see if it's on it. So that's what I do. Or sometimes I'm aimlessly and mindlessly playing games on my phone, just
Okay.
or listening to music while I'm playing the game, and then that's it.
Okay.
And I'm
All
just,
right.
so.
I'm okay with you sitting in the house, but I'm not okay with you sitting in the house and just letting everything just
And
fester
just
from the inside. You have to find
right,
a way to release
right,
it. So
right.
if you're finding an outlet, like then I'm gonna give you an okay. I'm gonna give you a go ahead and give you a high five on that
Okay, all
because
right.
I just don't want you to be because we have to take care of ourselves. I
Yeah.
remember I remember after we decided to move my mom back to Minneapolis into an assisted living facility, and I have a therapist, and I
Yeah.
remember her telling me, um, you've been caring for a long time. Don't do anything for a year. I was like, for a year, don't do it, girl. Stop. Like I don't know. In the first couple of months, it was hard because I had been so conditioned to caring for my mom,
Right.
excuse me, getting off work, making sure meal prepping on Sundays or doing this
Right.
or doing that. And so what I
Yeah.
realized is with every transition that my mom had, I had a new normal with the transition. So when we transitioned her back to Minneapolis,
Hmm.
um, I had to create a new normal. But for that 1 year, I started falling in love with things that I had to push back on the back burner. And then I
Wow.
found some new things, but it was probably the best advice that I ever got was to take that year to do absolutely nothing. I started reading books again,
Hmm.
um, working out again without feeling
Yes.
rushed and all of that. So we
Right.
do have to take care of ourselves and find what that thing is. So
Yes.
I'm a firm believer that anything that we go through, there's a lesson to be learned, or there's something we're supposed to know about it. So I'm going to switch this just a tad bit. As a caregiver, going through what you went through with your mom, what is a lesson that you learned about yourself?
Wow. Yeah. I guess one that I've got more patience than what I gave myself credit for. Because it takes a lot of patience and just okay, I'm gonna just let that ride on by. It really does. That was one thing because by nature, I am very impatient. I
Okay.
am. I want. I very impatient. My tolerance level, I think, has always been very low my entire life. But I don't know. Something changes when you're caregiving because you realize, especially Alzheimer dementia, you realize this is not of their fault. This is
Yep. Yep.
nothing that they would ever want you to have to do for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so just the patience and problem solving, like thinking way ahead, trying to just be more prepared to. So, oh man, this is, mm,
Yeah. Girl, let me tell you, that patience thing, I would tell people I do not have patience. I do not have patience. I would scream it from the rooftops. But when you become a caregiver, and it's probably, I've never been a parent, but it's probably the same type of thing with parenting. You have to, it's a skill that
yeah,
comes with the territory. And so for me, I was just kind of like, it's okay, mom. It's okay. It's so we're gonna now. Don't get me wrong. There were some days where you're just like, oh,
I know, I know. And there were there was a day like that, and I just, I was so angry. Um, and I was angry at her, but not at her, but it was like, why is this happening to you?
Yeah, yeah,
Why, why?
yeah,
Just,
yeah, yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah, yeah,
why you?
yeah,
Why
yeah,
is this
yeah.
happening? Why am I having to do this? It's like we were having such a good time. She would always want to, I'm like, hey, come on, let's go. Oh, yeah, right. Down to ride and do anything, girl. Didn't matter what it was. She was just, ready to go. And that's when I was baking. And I mean, I had cocoa powder everywhere because and then I would feel bad because I'm banging this open cocoa powder container on the counter because it was like I just snapped for a second.
Mm-hmm,
And then I felt, as you kind of come down, then I felt so terrible, but it was not directed at her. I'm not
mm-hmm,
wasn't
hmm.
angry with
It's the situation.
situation. And I'm like,
Yeah,
because you're like, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve to be going through this.
yeah,
Like, why? That's,
yeah,
you're just like, why?
yep, yep.
Mm,
I totally I totally can resonate and feel what you're explaining. It was the same thing when my mom was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I just remember like, what? Why? How? Right?
yeah,
What is this? And so it is. It's this will probably be another episode, but it's the diagnosis, because a lot of times we talk about the diagnosis affecting that person, which that's a whole different conversation, but we don't talk enough about the diagnosis and how it affects the people in the family. And
right,
so
right.
um, I think that really needs to be discussed more, because like you said, dementia for what, over 10 years with your mom dealing with
Yes,
that.
yes,
That's 10 years of you having that dementia,
right,
dealing with it and learning about it,
right.
and your life being
Yeah,
altered by
because
it.
10 years ago, there was not like now. There's so much more about caregiving, Alzheimer, dementia, things that are causing it, medications that they think may could help. But 10 years ago, I felt so alone and lonely with it because there just was not a lot, and as I was going through this, a lot of people, they had no idea that any of this was happening because
Yeah.
it wasn't that I was embarrassed of it or anything. It was like I didn't know how to go about even talking about this or getting, because people would ask about her, and I'm like, she's not getting better. Like, she's fine, like, healthy wise, and, she's eating and all of this stuff and still pretty active, in the beginning. And,
Hmm.
but it's just the information about it, there wasn't a whole lot, but now,
Yeah.
there's a lot more, but
Yeah.
still.
I remember how you and I met. We met through a Facebook group, but
Uh-huh.
then I remember you were a baker. And then I remember that you were caring for your mom, and and I was baking and caring for my mom. But then I just remember we both were putting our caregiving stories online as, wow, this is like, I can relate. Like, she understands, because a lot of times when we're caregiving, we think we're going through it by ourselves. Like,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
one understands. And so
right,
I just remember seeing some of your posts at the time, and I'm writing my posts going, we could copy and paste.
right, yeah,
Even though at the time their illnesses were different. I think I lost her here. Um, Even though their illnesses were different, the experiences are the
Right,
same.
right, right.
So let's move on a little. While you were caring for your mom, was there a moment when you realized that the experience of caring for your mom was shaping you for to create Constant Companion?
No, no. Because you know what? Let me tell you what, as I was going through that, I was just going through it. Like I I literally, like I said, I was as I'm putting more things together with Constant Companion, I was thinking back on trying to find care for my mother outside
Mhm,
of me because I was
mhm.
like, I can't do this 24/7. I have to have some help. Yeah, I found some good in between, but most are, you know, and I'm like, no, this is not going to work. But I don't think that when you're going through it, you're just kind of like tunnel vision. You're just straight, you're not even thinking about, oh, how can I share this and help someone else? No, I'm just trying to help myself right now because I am basically like putting my life on hold. It was like, still trying to work, still trying to date.
That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic. Caregiving and dating, a whole nother
Right.
topic.
So, just trying to work and make sure she's cared for, still trying to go out and just socialize sometimes just to have that little bit of release. So, no, when I was going through it, I was just boom, blinders on, eyes straight ahead.
Yeah, because it's definitely because there's not a handbook, right? There's not a handbook to tell you here are the 7 steps to being a great caregiver.
Right, right.
But it's day by day, moment by
It
moment,
is. It
sometimes
is.
hour by hour.
Oh my goodness.
And so I get it. So from how many years has it been since your mom has passed away?
It's been, so we're in 2026, it's been 5 years.
Okay, it's been 5 years. So
Hmm.
from her passing to now launching Constant Companion, are you in a good place now where you can use that experience and transfer that over for other families?
Yes, because that's my whole, I guess, kind of angle is I'm not coming into this business with oh, I went to college and I studied this and that, and I have a doctorate in this. No, ma'am, I don't have any of that. Okay, I'm coming with a doctorate in real life, okay, caregiver experiences,
Yeah, she's like, I got
and
that PhD.
exactly, and I think that that is so much more um needed versus somebody coming and saying, "Oh, well, I read about this or I did this or I did." No, when you were knee deep in it, there's to me there's just no other experience other than that can kind of prepare you and tell other people, hey, this is what you, because there's so many things, so
Yeah,
many things that I wish that I had known, or somebody said, hey, why don't you do this, bank accounts, just life insurance, medication, doctor, you start all of that, but you're learning this as you are going through it. Nobody is giving you step by step at
yeah,
all,
yeah, yeah. And that's part of part of the reason on why caregiving and conversations has been um, created, because there isn't a lot of information for that. And so I want this to be a safe space. I want this to be a space for people to learn. I
Yes.
want I want this also to be a community for people to know that they're not alone and that there are resources out there.
Yes.
One thing that you touched on when you said you were looking for people to come in and take care of your
Mhm.
mom, and you were like, nope, they're just not. And I think that's part of us. One, it's just our mom, and no one's going to take care of our mom better than we are. Um, so, how do you? get families to buy into constant companion, um, to fill that gap of the appointments and the errands. Because, like I said at the beginning, there were times when I was like, oh my God, I wish there was somebody could take her to the doctor because I got this meeting at work and I can't do this. And so I'm trying to
Right.
juggle this. So, how
Right.
do you, what would you say to a family, um, that you're that person to fill that gap? Like, you got to let go of some of that control. What advice would you
Yes.
give to
Yes.
somebody for that?
Because yeah, because my issue with the caregivers was like, okay, you got to have some common sense. You got to think ahead. You have to. Common sense is not common. We know this, and it's like, I can give you some other caregiver stories, but my thing to other families who are going, because this is what I'm going to be doing, setting up consultations with families, and just letting me know, like I said, I've got firsthand experience, so I'm already 10 steps ahead before we even get to the appointment. Well, is there anything that they need to have with them? Does she need water? She always cold. What about a jacket? Does she wear a certain sweater? Does she always like to have something in her purse? Put some candy in her purse or something. Does she just have, just things that are going to comfort them and keep them kind of calm or whatever, or feeling okay with me being the one that's taking them versus, with the family. But my main thing is I've done I did this for so long, even though it was my mom, but
Mhm.
I want to treat your mother like she was my mom. And everybody deserves that same dignity, care, and compassion. That's the whole thing. It's like not just in this just to make money. And and that was the thing I think with some of the caregivers, it's like they're just looking for a caregiver job and whatever. And I'm like, no, that's not it at all. These are people.
Yeah.
This is a human being, and it's like we have to go above and beyond to make sure that they're taken care of properly.
Yeah.
It just that just is because not
Yep.
everybody just has it. Like I just cannot see just halfway doing something. I just can't. I don't know.
No,
And
no. I'm with you, Lisa.
yeah,
I'm with you. And one of the words that you said, dignity.
yeah,
Regardless of their illness, they still have to have the
right,
and being able to make sure that they have that and feel
right,
it. Not even just have it, but make sure that they feel it,
right.
because even
Not
though
having them go
whatever
outside
they're,
dressed any kind of way, looking any
yeah,
kind of way, not,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, absolutely. I get it. So from caregiver to caregiver, let's talk about this word here, guilt. There would be times I sat in guilt. My guilt was Monday through Saturday. Um, I did any and everything for my mom, whatever she needed, whatever she wanted. Everybody knew on Friday after I got off work, I was taking her to this little place where she loved her
Mhm.
Chinese food. And the
Mm,
little guy loved to, he knew, like, he didn't know what her illness was, but I would
right,
let her order for herself and use her own debit card to let
right,
her feel like she had some of that independence. And then Saturday, I would, let's go for a ride. Let's go to a movie. Let's go do this. But Sundays was a day that I wanted for
for
myself.
yourself,
And
yeah,
there were a lot of times when I would make sure she was taken care of, and then I would leave on Sunday. There were times I would go to the movies on a Sunday, and I would literally go to the movies and take a nap. So, but I would feel guilty about leaving her because I'm like, Monday through Friday, I'm working, I'm this, I'm that. So, how do you fight through guilt? Or what did you do to fight through that guilt?
yeah. I mean, gosh, because I did feel guilty, same as you, because you feel like you're letting them down, just for, even if just for that little bit of moment, because it's like I'm always here, I'm always right here, anything that she needs, or and it was just, eventually I just had to like tell myself it's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then once I found one caregiver that was there and helping, and that's when I started to feel a little bit less of that guilt.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it was when you had that help that you were okay with, you're not going to feel, as bad about leaving them. But, you that's the thing, main thing I think I would say anyone that's coming into being a caregiver, you're thrown into being a caregiver, you have to take time for yourself. That's it. Because
Ab- Absolutely.
you just do.
Yeah, respite care is very important. And there's places out there. One of the biggest challenges that I had with my mom, because there were a lot of adult daycare places,
Yeah.
and they would do field trips, and they would, they do arts and crafts, and I'll be like, Mom, do you want to go to this? She's like, no, and I'm like,
Uh-huh. Yep.
oh. So
Yep.
I had someone. I went through three personal care assistants, I think, that came
Hmm.
into the house, and it wasn't even to really just help me do stuff around the house, because that was me giving. I couldn't give up the control. It
Yeah.
was basically giving her the companionship, right?
Right.
So if
Right.
you're paying for that companionship, that's also taking some stuff off of your plate, because
Right.
that then helped me. Well, she had 5 hours with someone today, so she wasn't here all by herself.
Right.
So I think
Right.
constant companion is going to be very successful for you, because it is that companion part that's needed, so the caregiver can get some respite care and not feel the
Mhm.
guilt that comes along with it, because it is
Right.
hard. It's
It
hard to,
is hard.
especially when so for me, I didn't have family here.
Right.
I had friends who were great, and that became family, that would step in and check on my mom, and that was great. And I will not take any of that for granted, and I'm very
Right.
thankful for that. But it's different when you don't have family. It's
Exactly.
really, it's
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
So let me ask this: as a former caregiver and now a business owner serving caregivers, what does healthy caregiving look like now?
Mm. Yeah. Again, I think sticking with my word, the dignity,
Okay.
because there's so many people that see an opportunity, I think, with elderly, and then it turns into, oh, well, maybe I can, and it turns into something else that's not so nice, taking
Mhm.
advantage of them and, different type of financial
Mhm.
help
Mhm.
all the time.
Mhm.
And, that's something also that want to try and protect them from, because I see so much of it, and it breaks my heart, because I don't want them to be alone. It's like I want
Yeah.
to be there, even if, you just need somebody for a few minutes just to talk to, because most times that's what happens when I get them on the line, talking, 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 talking. They're
Mhm.
lonely. But and that is part of that healthy caregiving. Just taking that time, just having that little bit of patience for them, because they want to tell the story. They may have told you that same story 12 times, but we're gonna listen
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That
not
repeat, that
say,
repeat, man, is for me. I think healthy caregiving is setting boundaries in place. When I became a caregiver, heck, I didn't know anything about boundaries, and if I was to if I was to do it full time now, because now I'm kind of distant because
Mhm.
she's in Minnesota, but if I was to do it now, I think setting the boundaries would be that healthy caregiving. Um, yeah, I think I would have to set boundaries in place.
Mhm.
So, two questions. Oh, I think I may have lost you. Okay, are you back? There
Oh,
you go.
I'm here. Yep.
Okay, so this is my Miss Tiff unfiltered question. This is where you
Okay.
just get to be. So, caregiving is a beautiful thing. It's also a blessing. It's also tiring. It's also challenging. It's
Challenging.
messy,
Yes.
frustrating at
Yes.
times.
Yes.
What is a caregiving truth that people don't talk about enough? Just let it go. Just let it go. Be unfiltered.
Woo! Again, that frustrating part, the anger, that that's what I feel most guilty about, being angry.
Okay. Okay.
Being angry.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's what I feel. And again, not at her, but just at the disease,
Yeah.
at that she had to go through this. But the there's just so many, and there's not just one.
No, and I think you're right because a lot of people want to gloss and make it this pretty picture of
Yeah, and it's
caregiving.
not.
They talk about, and I'm speaking from experience.
Mhm.
I've had people tell me, I would do anything if I could have my mother back with me. I'm not saying I don't want her here. I'm saying today, in this moment, this is hard.
Yes,
I'm tired.
yes,
I can't do this
yes.
anymore. And so I think I think we have to be honest. I mean, it's no different than when people talk about raising children, oh,
Right,
children are a blessing. They're the most beautiful thing. And
right.
da, da, da.
No,
And you
they
don't
get
hear a
on your
lot.
nerves. Send them to their grandma. Send them to their daddy for the summer. Okay.
Exactly. But people don't talk enough about that. Oh,
Yeah.
I would do anything for my kid. I will do anything for my mom. Again, two things can be true at the same
Right.
time.
Okay. I'm
I'm
gonna
going
do
to do
anything, but
anything.
I'm still frustrated and I'm
There it
still
is.
tired. I'm stressed out. And another thing that people have to get over is always saying, "Don't put them in no home. Don't send them nowhere. Don't put." Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You keep that same thought
Yeah.
when you get to a certain
Yeah.
point in your caregiving journey,
Hmm.
and see what you say then. You know what I mean? Because that was something I cried for so long about, that because
Yeah.
I felt like I was really letting her down at that point.
No, I remember your post about that. I remember you talking about that. I remember that decision. And that was one of the struggles I had about us moving my mom to Minnesota and her
Mhm.
going into assisted living facility. I will say though, she hates the food, but she
Mhm.
likes the independence that she
Uh-huh.
has.
And
And
the
so
environment, and she's got
yeah,
friends there
yeah,
and all that. Yeah.
yeah. The
Yeah.
food part, she is like,
Don't
absolutely
like it.
not.
Right.
But her being able to tell me, oh, I went downstairs and sat on the patio and read my book,
Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
went to
See?
such and such. And,
Yeah.
because she's back in Minnesota, some of her friends come and get her and they take her to lunch. And so she's so happy about that.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I was taking her to lunch and taking her to dinner and taking her, it's just
Right.
she's doing it with her friends and
Right.
not with
She's with
me.
her
And
friends.
so,
So, right.
yeah,
Exactly.
so I
Exactly.
I
So
I
true.
really
Yeah.
appreciate. I will say the transition for her has been better than what I thought it would be. Now
Yeah.
I still struggle. It's been 8 years
Right.
or 7 years. How
Yeah.
long has been? But I struggle. I'm still struggling with her being there. All right,
Right.
Lisa. So I have one more question for you,
Okay.
and I don't want to leave on the unfiltered question. So this is a question I ask all my guests. What
Hmm.
is that one thing that brings you joy these days outside of caregiving? What do you do that brings you joy?
Most times it's just being with my fur baby. That's it. Us going out. He's so bad. He's so bad. He's an old man. And I said, it's funny how it's the same with people. When people get older, they just say and do whatever they want. And that's kind of how he is. So, being out with my dog because he's elderly and I'm trying to, cherish those moments with him. But really, I am just starting now to get back into, like, okay, I need to start getting out. I need to start doing stuff because it was a transition, as you know, from coming out of the house to being living somewhere else, and it's like, this isn't home. I still haven't fully decorated here. So,
Uh-huh.
and it's been 3 years. So,
Girl,
but
we won't talk about that. It took me almost 5 years to start decorating in my house, so I get
yes,
it.
yes.
I
But
get
it's
it.
just, it really is a transition, from losing them, moving on, life without them, that whole transition. And it really does just take time. And it
It
really has
does.
taken me all of this time. And people probably be like, that's weird. Or, it sounds weird or what. But I just, like I said, I haven't, that's why I don't have any pictures on my wall or nothing, but I'm getting there slowly, slowly. But so that's one thing that I'm happy about, because I did realize, I am starting to get back into reading again, reading my books, because I hadn't for so long. And, you know, being with this crazy one here, but we're over here by the lake. So, like, going over to the lake and just sitting and just being and just relaxing. So,
Okay. I like that. I
yes,
like that. I'm a water person. And
yeah,
so
I
anytime I
love
can be
it.
around water, it just being
Yes.
outside, just the nature, it just that grounding. And so I just love
Yes,
that.
yes. The
Um,
springtime is the best. Right now,
yeah.
not so much, but
Girl, we went from it's cold to 90 degrees, 80 or humidity almost, but it's supposed to be 100 degrees
oh my gosh,
soon.
I know. I don't even want to think about it.
I know. So, Lisa, tell people how they can get in touch with you. Tell them your social media and website, whatever. How do people get in contact with you?
Yes, my website is constantconcierge.net. I do have a Facebook page, Constant Companion, Senior Concierge. I'm still working on all of the other websites and TikTok and trying to get all of that stuff going. So that's the main way to reach me. Email is constantconcierge dot no, constant concierge at outlook.com.
Okay. Girl, just go to her Facebook page
Yeah, go
and
to the
go to
Facebook
her
page. All my
website.
info is there. Yes.
Yeah,
Look,
so
don't get me
yeah.
lying and saying something wrong on my own business, child. Lord. No.
No, that's fine. That is fine. Lisa, I just want to say thank you so much. I enjoyed this conversation. A lot of
Yes.
things that you were
Thank
saying, it was like
you.
I could copy and paste it and have it come out of my own mouth
I
because
know.
the
I
stories, the
know.
themes are the same. And I just want you to know, and everybody else out there who's listening, if you're a caregiver, you're not alone. All right. So before we
Absolutely.
go,
Reach
I just want to
out.
say, yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. And to all my caregivers out there, remember, give
Yes.
yourself grace, give
Yes.
yourself rest, give yourself self love because you matter too. Thank you. Bye
Yes.
bye.